What happens when we die? Is there a somewhere else? Is there an after here? And on that note, who are we, by the way? While we're at it, who am I? Or maybe the question I should be asking is, what is I? What is the self, and where in the brain is it? Is a man inside his home just a man? Or is he the house and everything in it? Am I my body? Or like the man in the house, am I tucked away somewhere inside? Am I hiding in the attic, peering out through half-drawn blinds at the world outside? The man inside the house is a resident, while I, inside my body, am a person. Where does the man go if his house is demolished brick by brick? Does he cease to exist because his house no longer exists? Then where do I go when my body is demolished, atom by atom? Do I cease to exist? His questions were met with blank stares. I think, therefore I am, he continued. But do I think, or do I have a brain and it thinks, and I merely experience a brain thinking? I have a voice inside my head, yet I cannot hear it. It's there, I know it is, but it doesn't have a sound. I don't listen to that voice, not like you're listening to me. I experience it. It doesn't have a sound, and yet I hear it all day long. In fact, I've heard it my whole life. And it says I every time. So who is this infamous I person? Is it the voice, or is it me? Am I the voice, or am I experiencing the voice? Is the voice merely a feature of the body I inhabit? Like a hungry belly, is the voice just a groaning mind? Would the man inside the house think that the creaking in the walls was his voice too? Would that be proof that he was the house? This voice has been narrating my life for as long as I can remember. An endless commentary on my intro and exteroception. It tells me when I'm tired, hungry, and sore. And it tells me I'm better than everyone else, just as much as it tells me I'm not as good as I think I am. It tells me all the things I can't do and makes me feel guilty about doing all the things it told me I could. Sometimes it's funny, inspiring, and sometimes it plays my favorite song on a repeat. Most of the time, though, it's not much fun to listen to at all, worrying about all sorts of stupid things that I can do nothing about. So, is this voice me? The children all looked at their teacher, unsure if this would be in the test. Is the voice any more mine than, say, the commentary is on a football game? And the thoughts and memories, are they mine? Or am I just experiencing a play-by-play of every foul, fumble, and spectacular goal? Are my thoughts and memories merely a feature of the mind, or is it proof of I? And if so, once again, what is I? If the man is not the attic, the staircase, the furniture, or the house, how can I claim to be the brain I feel I inhabit, the body in which it's encased, and the organs with which it's furbished? How can I attest to being anything other than awareness itself? Aware that the attic, the staircase, the furniture, and the house exist, that they are separate from other houses, just as my body is separate from other bodies, and that looking out the attic window, my experience of life on this street is separate from my neighbor, who is also looking out from a window in his attic. Aware, too, that I am not the grass that grows in my yard, just as I am not the house's facade. I'm not the color of the walls, nor am I the size of the property. I'm neither heritage listed, renovated, nor dilapidated. But I am aware, too, that my neighbor thinks I am. I'm aware that my neighbor thinks I am my house, that I am the lawn, the facade, and the color of my walls. I'm aware that my neighbor judges me, and so I forget that I'm not the attic, the staircase, and the furniture, but instead I go about acting as if I am the house. But I'm not the house, am I? So what am I? Before we ask if we go anywhere when we die, we have to ask, do I exist at all? And therefore, can I even die? If in fact what I call being me is merely like the buzzing from an old refrigerator, just the echo or ripple of neural assemblies in the brain, am I actually alive? Everything we know and touch is carbon. It can be smashed together, built up, and broken apart. And all those things, be they trees, dinosaurs, your new shoes, or even your teacher, they're all at the whim of entropy. My body, just like the house, will age and weather, and one day it will return to dust. And we can see this in the cracks in the walls and the lines under our eyes. But am I, as a conscious self, a physical thing that ages and is affected by the ravages of time? When an old man says, "You're only as young as you feel," Is it because his experience has never aged? Is it because, unlike his body, his sense of self, his conscious self, is not a thing at all? What is consciousness? He said, pacing back and forth, scratching his scruffy beard. The reason I ask if it's a thing at all is, as a scientist, I want to be able to measure things. I want to see it in a telescope or a microscope or with my own two eyes. But consciousness and all of the selves, they can only be experienced, and subjectively we can compare our experiences. But our words work for what we can hear, smell, touch, taste, and see. Do we even have the right language to compare what we cannot measure? And how do I know that you're even conscious at all? If the man in the house is peering out through drawn curtains, how can he be sure that there is someone else peering from the other side of the street? He never saw another person move in. So how can he assume anyone lives there at all? As a scientist, this is why consciousness is such a hard question. Am I conscious or am I consciousness? If the man is in the house, what part of the house is he at any given time? If I'm conscious, where do I stay in my body? Do I live in the back of my head watching the world go by? Or am I in my toes, feeling the sand disappear beneath my feet? Am I in my stomach, feeling myself full and incapable of eating another morsel? Am I on the other side of the street, feeling the person at the bus stop staring right at me? Or am I in you, when even though you say you're fine, I can tell that you're not? If I'm not the voice in my head, or the thoughts and memories it narrates, if I'm not the body and all the cells and atoms that make it, what am I? What do I look like? What do I sound like? Do I have a shape or form at all? Do I have a reflection? Do I cast a shadow? Would I even know myself if I caught myself outside of my body? Am I but a flame, an incandescent flicker born of a carbon man breathing air? Or am I something more? Am I observable? Am I provable? Am I deducible? Am I refinable? Am I measurable? If I'm none of these things, do I even exist at all?